There are two types of dance. One says, if you chase your dreams, it might cost you everything. The other says, if you don't chase your dreams, it definitely will. One girl loses her mom on the way to an audition. One boy breaks into an art school and accidentally finds his future. And somehow, they're both about ballet and hip hop. But here's the real question. Is dance about therapy or is dance ambition? Let's talk about it. Here on Cinema Versus. Roll the intro! What's up, what's goody, and what's poppin'? And welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time being here, first of all, hey, Professor hello! My name is Top Cat. I am your YouTube personality, your cinema griot, and your reactionary goddess. Thank you so much for being here because we could have been anywhere on Beyonce's good internet, but you were here with me, and I appreciate you for that. I just have one question before we get started, and just one little favor to ask. If at any point in today's video you like what you see upon your black screen, you know you're black, blah, if you could just do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down there. And join the family, baby, because we are obviously friends now.
We're friends now.
Let's get into today's video. Now, last time we were here, we started the first week of March Madness in the street division, where we had Roll Bounce versus You Got Served. And I'm here to say with the official votes that the winner is You Got Served. Yes, y'all. Y'all really did it up for Lil Saint.
You did it, man. Nah, we did it.
I mean, are we surprised though? Are we surprised? Last week's winner is going into the semifinals, and now we are starting off the performance division week. This week we are starting Step Up versus Save the Last Dance. And if you are wondering why am I all dressed up and glammed up and all of that, if you don't recall, last week it was the weekend or the Sunday before my birthday. And as a Libra moon and Libra rising, being Venusian led, I use that as the one day out of the year where I get fully glammed up, dolled up. I do my hair, I do my makeup, I do all the things. So this is just a post-birthday glow.
Stunning.
This week, we're stepping into the dance division, where ballet meets hip hop, grief meets ambition, therapy meets showcase, and we're going to talk about Save the Last Dance versus Step Up, which, in my opinion, basically, same movie, different sides of the coin. Because instead of the fish out of water being the girl, it's the guy. In the event that you have not watched either of these movies in like a long periodically time, don't worry, your girl's got a recap for you. Starting with Save the Last Dance. Save the Last Dance, directed by Thomas Carter, stars Julia Stiles as Sarah Johnson. Sarah is a white suburban ballet dancer with dreams of Juilliard. On the night of her audition, she pressures her mother to leave work early to make it on time. Now, mind you, her mother is swamped because people are calling out, but her mother rushes to get to her audition. There, she has a car accident and her mother dies. At the same time, Sarah does not do well at her audition and doesn't get into Juilliard. Overcome with guilt, Sarah quits dancing and moves to Chicago to live with her estranged father on the South Side. At her new, predominantly black school, she feels out of place and is oblivious to a lot of new changes. But she eventually befriends Chanel, played by Kerry Washington, who properly introduces her to her brother Derek, portrayed by Sean Patrick Thomas. And the reason why I say properly is because earlier in that day, Sarah and Derek kind of had a little tit for tat in class, and Sarah didn't like the little snapbacks. Now, Derek is academically ambitious, hoping to escape the cycle of his neighborhood to attend Georgetown. And he has a knucklehead friend named Malachi that is kind of weighing him down. Through Derek, Sarah re-enters dance. This time through hip hop. As their romance grows, so does tension because, of course, Derek is interested in the only white girl. And of course, the white girl is interested in one of the only academically sound boys in her class. So yes, there's racial division, peer pressure. Chenille is dealing with baby daddy drama, and the looming question of whether or not Sarah truly understands the world that she was plopped into. The climax comes when Sarah auditions for Juilliard again. After having to deal with Derek's ex-girlfriend constantly hating on her, Chenille snapping at her after dealing with her own baby daddy issues, and then Sarah's all confused. All at the same time, while Derek is again dealing with Malachi and his bullshit. At the audition, Sarah blends ballet with hip hop in her final Juilliard showcase. And the film ends with her earning a second chance at her dream and choosing love without abandoning herself. Let's get into Step Up. Step Up, directed by Anne Fletcher, introduces us to Tyler Gage, played by Channing on Love and Tatum. Thank you, Jamie Foxx, for that. It's been like a decade and I still sing that to this day. Tyler is a talented dancer from a rough neighborhood in Baltimore. After vandalizing the Maryland School of the Arts, he's sentenced to like 200 hours of community service at the school. There, he meets Nora Clark, played by Jenna Dewan, who is a disciplined, classically trained dancer preparing for her senior showcase. When Nora's original partner injures himself, Nora has to go through audition after audition trying to find a senior to dance with. But none of the seniors can do what she's asking them to do. In walks Tyler. He offers to help. At first, Nora is very rigid because she only wants to work with seniors and she sees him as undisciplined. But he also sees her as rigid and he has a history of quitting, so game peeps game. But as rehearsals continue, they begin blending their styles, her structure with his rhythm. Meanwhile, Tyler struggles with his loyalty to his neighborhood because he has a best friend named Mac who's also rigid and also is playing kind of the same role as Malachi now that I think about it. Dealing with his own nonsense, and he has a little brother named Smitty who is kind of like the little saint of the movie, who was there to be fridged. Yeah, I said it. He was there to be fridged. And I ain't taking it back. But I feel like this one was earned a little bit more. Tyler struggles with his loyalty to his neighborhood and fears of becoming another statistic. Nora's original partner is healed, and now Nora is at a crossroads because she has to figure out who does she dance with. Tyler instantly is like, nah, I see where this is going. I see the writing on the wall. Instantly quits and goes ghost on Nora. And he should have just waited because if he would have realized her partner can't do half the stuff that they created, she needed him. After the death of Smitty, he decides, you know what, I'm going to fight for my dream anyway. Convinces Nora to come back to allow him to dance minutes before dance time. And the final showcase merges ballet and street dance into a polished, high-energy performance. Tyler earns himself a scholarship, Nora gets herself a breakthrough, and dance becomes the vehicle for upward mobility. Now let's get into these rounds. Round 1, the opening sequence. This is how the movie introduces us to the world of the movie. And just like in round 1 of the street division, these two movies could not be any more drastic. Save the Last Dance opens with anxiety. No pun intended. I mean, we've got Sarah dancing at her Juilliard audition, her mama dealing with all the stress, and a naggy teenage little girl. At the same time as Sarah is dancing, looking around for her mother, and her mother falls onto the side of the highway, Sarah falls in the middle of her audition. The accident happens within the first 10 minutes and then bam, her mother is careened on the side of the road. We see that she gets the news from the Highway State Patrol, and then she's in Chicago with her father. Dance in this world is associated with loss. A lot is told in the first 10 minutes of Say the Last Dance. You can even tell by the color grading, this is not going to be a cheery movie. This is kind of sad. When you compare that with Step Up, again, total difference. We're at a basement party and a dance studio. The first person that we actually meet isn't even Tyler, nor is it Nora. It's actually Mac. When we finally meet Tyler, Tyler is doing his thing, cutting it up on the dance floor. So one world says dance comes at a cost, while the other one says dance is everything. For both of these characters. Round 2, the ensemble and chemistry test. Let's talk about the romances in these movies. For Say the Last Dance, you have Sarah and Derek. Both movies start off with the typical enemies to lovers trope, but the roads are different. For Sarah and Derek, their chemistry is gentle. At one point in the movie, what stuck out to me about Derek is that at a point where he is supposed to be celebrating his personal victory of getting into Georgetown, he didn't decide to celebrate with going out to steps. He decided, I want to go to a ballet with Sarah because he sees who Sarah used to be. He supports her by reigniting and resuscitating a dream of Sarah's. And he does it without trying to reshape it. They feel like a couple that's built on emotional recovery. But this isn't only just about the chemistry of the main couple. You have to think about the world that surrounds them. Chanel, played by Kerry Washington, is arguably the emotional backbone of the movie. She's a teen mother, juggling school, navigating a complicated relationship with a child's father. She introduces Sarah and us to the world, and she defends her most of the time. But she also calls Sarah out too, like, girl, you cannot be this oblivious. You need to wake up and pay attention. Chanel represents real reality. And then there's Malachi, played by our obligatory hip-hop artist, Fredro Starr. And for those of you who might not realize, like, Fredro Starr is a part of the rap group named Onyx. He embodies the tension. He's the resistance to Sarah the moment that she enters the space. The moment he realizes that his boy is starting to get a little bit of jungle fever. He's got jungle fever. She's got jungle fever. They're in love. He says,
You never look as good as she does with him. That's oil. Your milk. Ain't no point trying to mix.
Rude.
I call shade.
But it paints the picture and it drove across what he was trying to say. He represents the racial discomfort. The world around Sarah and Derek is heavy. When it comes to Nora and Tyler, they too were enemies to lovers. Now, I do have to point out, yes, Nora had a boyfriend. The moment that she realized that her boyfriend was trash, she dumped him and stopped fighting the obvious chemistry that was there with Tyler the entire time. I don't know if they still say this online, but there was a thing where they were like, ball is life. For her, dance was life. If it wasn't about dance, she did not care. Their chemistry was physical. It was competitive. It was charged. Their attraction grows through rehearsal, through proximity, and through capability. But their supporting cast, it shapes their energy differently. You have Mac, played by Demaine Radcliffe. And Mac, even though I give Mac a lot of grief, Mac is crazy loyal. And like, all he asks in return is for you to be crazy loyal too. He represents Tyler's old world, the pull of the neighborhood, and the comfort of stagnation. And when I say like the comfort of stagnation, like the moment that Tyler is just like, I mean, but what are you doing? I'm comfortable right here. Like he's literally just like, but I don't see you walking children in nature.
And I don't see you out there walking children in nature.
When Mac makes bad decisions, Tyler has to choose who he's becoming. I mean, honestly, Tyler is crazy loyal too because Mac was the one that got caught, and Tyler did something to let Mac get away. And then you have Miles, which is another one of our, say it with me, obligatory hip hop artists. That's Mario. I also need to make an addendum on our obligatory hip hop artist because I almost cried realizing, oh shit, Heavy D is in this movie too. They have this whole conversation about like, Miles, you go to an art school?
What the hell's an art school cat supposed to look like? Miles Davis, Tupac, Mobb Deep. Just shut up.
But Miles is the one that is pining after Drew Sidora. He's the musician. And at one point, I really thought that they were going to plug in the "You Should Let Me Love You" because he was basically playing that role in the movie. In Step Up, the supporting cast doesn't weigh the relationship down. They almost kind of put the gasoline to the fire to accelerate it. The conflict isn't social political, it's elevation. Tyler choosing growth and Nora choosing risk. One couple heals each other, the other ignites each other. Round 3. Cultural impact and world of dance. Dance movies aren't just about the choreography. They show how society moves beyond the movement. So in this case, these movies are about race, class, opportunity, and who gets to belong. Let's talk about the impact. Save the Last Dance was released in 2001 and made over $130 million in the box office. And for a teen drama, that is massive. But the impact wasn't just financial. It arrived at a time when interracial dating on screen, especially between a white woman and a black man in a predominantly black high school, was still treated as provocative. Remember, this is like early 2000s. When you add in on the fact that this is set in modern times Chicago, the film makes Sarah a fish out of water, where she's an outsider, and we're watching this movie from her perspective. The ballet world that she comes from, white, elite, very gatekept. And the hip-hop world that she steps into, black-led, communal, social. Dance moves became a metaphor for social integration. The blending of hip-hop and ballet isn't just choreography, it's the movie's thesis. Now, whether or not it executed it perfectly, that's still up for the debate because, you know, when you look back on it through modern day lenses, we talk about how stiff Julia Stiles did that crunchy ass heel toe. But nonetheless, for the time, baby, for the time, that heel toe was it, bitch, okay? But culturally, it helped define that, you know, ballet meets hip hop as a subgenre for the early 2000s. And honestly, this movie walked so that Step Up could run. And today, some people still reference that Juilliard audition. So controversial or not, it stuck. Now let's talk about Step Up. 5 years later, we get the younger sister. Step Up was released in 2006, and it didn't just succeed. It built a whole franchise. 5 films, a television series, a dance movie blueprint that lasted over a decade. I mean, if you watched So You Think You Can Dance, at one point, it was a pipeline from So You Think You Can Dance to the Step Up series. So where Say the Last Dance was used as a metaphor, Step Up was basically used as a dance spectacle. The Maryland School of the Arts wasn't just symbolic, it was structural, competitive, high stakes, aspirational. And there, dance isn't just therapy, it's currency. If you can perform, you can rise. And that concept resonated. The film also helped catapult Channing Tatum into stardom and solidified dance moves as a mainstream commercial entertainment juggernaut. But more importantly, it shifted the genre. After Step Up, in conjunction with movies like You Got Served, dance films became more athletic, more polished, more performance-driven. The final showcase format became the standard. And culturally, that soundtrack, the choreography, the showcase, it captured replay value, created a formula, and like I said, it was a brand. So when we zoom out, Save the Last Dance created a bridge. Dance was reconciliation, and it was cultural recognition. And Step Up, dance is the leader. Dance is meritocracy. Dance is upward mobility. We get to my favorite part, which is round 4, core fear versus core desire. Every great movie isn't just about what's on the surface. It's about the characters if they believe that they fail, and the hope if they believe that they don't. For Save the Last Dance, the core fear isn't just about failure, it's also about guilt. For Sarah, her mother died on the way to her audition. So in Sarah's mind, dance equals consequence. She automatically equated her being selfish to her being guilty. If she succeeds, what does that mean? Was that sacrifice worth it though? What if she fails again? Did her mother die in vain for nothing? That's the psychological weight that she's been carrying throughout the majority of the movie. Her fear is not about being good enough. It's to justify the space she takes up. Even for Derek, he knew that he was not in the same headspace as his homeboy Malachi. But because Derek has been holding on to that guilt up until the point that we met him in the movie, which is why Malachi kept bringing him down, because he knew he had that over Derek's head. But as Derek decided, I'm going to move on and move forward and become a better person, Malachi was like, no, that's who I am. He was stuck in that moment until he got arrested at the final moments of the movie. So even with Derek, his core fear is guilt. Their core desire is atonement. She doesn't just want Juilliard. She wants absolution. She wants to prove that she deserves her dream. He doesn't want to just move forward. He wants to prove that he's beyond that moment and that he wants to pull Malachi out of that moment too. When Derek teaches her hip hop, he's not just giving her new choreography, he's breaking her rigidity. He's breaking the grief posture, the emotional armor. Here's the tension. Because her healing arc is internal, the external dance sometimes feels secondary. The emotional journey drives the choreography. Now with Step Up, we'll first talk about Tyler. Tyler's fear is insignificance. It's becoming another guy from his neighborhood who never leaves. It's jail. It's dead-end jobs. It's wasted talent. But who else does that sound like? Sounds like Nora. Because for Nora, it might not be jail, but her mother kept pushing on to her a college that she didn't want to go to. She felt like her mother didn't support her dreams. So their desire is to be seen, to be respected, to prove that they're more than a stereotype attached to their zip code. And in this film, dance is legitimacy. The Maryland School of the Arts is a gate. If they earn their place, if they get the ideas the way that they wanted it to, they get their breakthrough. One story is about reconciliation with the past, and the other is about the ambition towards the future. And now we've come to our final round, which is round 5, the rewatchability test. So yes, Save the Last Dance can be a little bit heavy. This movie is not for the weak, and it's not just background noise cinema. This is a sit down and watch movie. But the heaviness is also why it lingers. It captures early 2000s Chicago energy, the fashion, the soundtrack, the way interracial relationships were framed at the time. It's a time capsule. When you rewatch it, you're revisiting a specific cultural moment. And sometimes that nostalgia hits. Sometimes you want the butterfly clips, the mini skirts with the thigh-high boots and the bandanas. You want that Juilliard audition. Sometimes you want that stiff, crunchy heel toe. But as you sit through the grief and you sit beyond the hard part, is it not iconic? With Step Up, you could drop in at this movie at any point. You could skip straight to the showcase, replay the rehearsal montage. You can throw it on while you're cleaning and still catch a vibe. The pacing is on point. The soundtrack, baby, the soundtrack. Sean Paul and Keisha Cole, Sierra, that soundtrack bumps. The choreography feels authentic. It's lighter, it's easier to revisit, and yes, it built a franchise. So when you zoom out, structurally, these movies still hold up. And so I ask you, which one lives in your streaming queue? The one that makes you feel, or the one that makes you move? Because in March Madness, there's only one winner, and this vote is solely up to you. And now, the polls are officially open. Vote in the comments, vote in the community tab, and the winner advances. This has been Cinema Versus. Protect Black art, stream Black stories, especially this month. Let's continue to celebrate movement. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for staying this long and making it to the end of this week's episode. I hope that you've enjoyed this week's episode. For real, this was actually a fun episode to watch. But I'm so glad that these two movies still hold up, because Step Up was one of my favorite movies growing up as a kid. Oh my gosh, I wanted to be in the performing arts school so bad. I think I still somewhat have a personality of a performing arts kid, even though I went to a public school that had no performing arts department at all. Anyway, if you have not done so and you've watched all the way to this point, baby, you need to just hit that subscribe button, because we're no longer just friends at this point. Thank you so much for watching this week's video. Again, don't forget to hit the polls and vote in the community tab. Let me know your thoughts about this week's episode. I love you, and not just because you watch my videos, but because you matter. So if nobody has told you this, I love you. You matter, and you need to keep shining.
Tú también deberías de creer en ti. Vale más de lo que pienso.
Until I see you next time. Bye!